Novelist Gillian Flynn is most readily recognized for her novel Gone Girl, which was adapted into an acclaimed film by David Fincher. But what people might not know is that she's written other novels, including Sharp Objects, which was recently purchased and greenlit by HBO. We watched the pilot, we have plenty of thoughts, and we'll be telling you all about them right after this.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Like you wash my hair.
Wearing the right kimono for this
For
song.
sure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the song Come Down, which was featured in the pilot of Sharp Objects, which we're talking about today here on TV Pilot Reviews on AfterBuzz TV. My name is Jeff, and I am the moderator for this panel. In case you guys didn't know, on this show we talk about pilots, and that's all we do. We only talk about pilots. We don't talk about seasons or episode 2s or 3s. We talk about episode 1s, and we're talking about episode 1 of Sharp Objects, which premiered on HBO this Sunday. There is an after show for this, so if you want to hear more in-depth coverage than what we'll be bringing you today, you should check that out. It's airing on our Dramas channel. But if you just want to hear whether or not you should be watching this pilot, we have plenty of thoughts. I'm not alone, because my lovely co-host Sam Davidson is here.
Hello, guys. Sam Davidson. I do have a lot of thoughts, and I'm going to actually see if I can pull up the live chat here if you guys are in here, just in case.
Absolutely. So just so you guys know, this is the kind of show where the further we go, the more spoilery we're going to get. So we're going to start with overall thoughts, then we're going to talk about the development history of this show, but then we will be talking about specifics in the pilot. So if you want to go in totally blind, you'll want to kind of tune out after we talk about development. If you want to hear a little bit about the pilot, we won't be going too in depth, and I think you'll get a good flavor of what the show was the more you listen. So it's totally up to you, but you've been warned. The further we go, the more spoilers you gonna get. Okay, Sam.
That was great.
I'm feeling kind of like amped tonight.
Jeff is on fire, you guys. You're like reminding me of Jim Carrey right now.
Sometimes I get that.
Really?
I get Jim Carrey sometimes. People say I look like him too.
Sometimes when you do your hands out like that, it's like that movie that he
Bruce
did.
Almighty.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a classic. Okay, Sam, what did you think of Sharp Objects?
I've watched it twice. The first time I was just really excited to see it, and it was late, and I got a little creeped out, and I wasn't paying attention. I didn't love it. Second time today, I actually am pretty excited about the rest of the season, and I thought that the pilot could, but it's also a limited series, so
Right.
we've talked about the different kinds of pilots, but I liked it.
I was a little disappointed by this pilot, I'm going to be honest.
I get it.
I thought it looked beautiful. I thought Amy Adams was good. At best, she was good. At worst, I think she was fine.
Really?
And I don't know if it's her fault. I just don't think any of these actors were given much. I mean, and part of that is Jean-Marc Vallée's directorial style. If you've seen Wild, it's very visually driven. But the thing I loved about Big Little Lies, because there are some connections to Big Little Lies, which we'll go over, same director. I think that show had a really nice balance of wordless, music-y montages, well-edited scenes, but also really enjoyable, snappy dialogue and some humor. And there was not much talking in this pilot.
I mean, okay, so I have been trying to read lately, guys. I go in these like binges, and I just usually murder mysteries. And Gillian Flynn is,
I can't even do that. I don't even know how to read. I just watch TV, so.
Well, she's like, those books get me. So I
Yeah.
have Sharp Objects, and I've tried to read it at the pool a couple times, and it starts slow. I need
Okay.
a book to really bring me in, to get me and serve me a mystery at the beginning, which they do, but the book is kind of slow as well.
Okay.
I haven't read much, but that's just my opinion of it so far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hate on this pilot, because I will say I love Southern Gothic stuff. Like, I love, like, I was just joking I don't read, but I actually do love, like, William Faulkner, and I feel like...
You did read.
I know. But I feel like this was sort of like a modernized version of, like, sort of that Southern Gothic, like, grotesque, creepy South with, like, you know, spinsters who never leave their homes and, you know, like, murders that are kept under the rug because of Southern values. And I like that stuff usually, but I just felt like I was surprised at how uninterested I was kind of from scene to scene. I would like what I was seeing in one scene, but then I feel like something else would happen, and I had trouble tracing the through line of what was actually happening in this pilot.
See, I think I understand there were some flashbacks that, you know, were hard for me to understand, but the through line of it, I agree that there were certain scenes that popped. It's not that there's anything wrong with Amy Adams. I do think she actually gave a pretty good performance, but I just think you need someone else with that kind of character to make them really pop.
Right.
In my personal opinion.
Well, let's go ahead and look at the trailers. So for those who haven't seen it, I think this is a great example of sort of the show's tone. So let's watch it right now.
Ma said she saw a ghost once. I'm not scared of them ghosts. Are you?
We need to talk about your daughters. Oh, one of them is dangerous. The other one's in danger.
It's not safe for you here.
Interesting.
So Gillian Flynn she has a lot of books, and from what I've heard just from some of my friends, this isn't their top favorite of hers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's interesting.
Well, the trailer is really good. I mean, HBO, I sort of think of them as like the prestige dogs of television. I mean, like, I think they don't really put out a bad show. They put out shows that might not be for me, but they're always like very sharply written, very tonally specific, and I will say always beautifully edited. That's one thing I will say is HBO really has nice looking, well edited shows. And that trailer is very good.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of a lot of shows that we've seen before. You know, it
Yes.
mixes like HBO shows, True Blood, you know, mixed with probably True Detective.
Yeah, True Detective. Yeah. I don't know. I just think like based on that trailer, I was expecting some grit and some style
I thought you were gonna say sex.
and some sex.
I was
I'm
like,
sure we're gonna get
I think
some.
you're gonna get some.
It's HBO, baby.
You gotta have sex.
But I don't know. I think I was very impressed visually, and again, Jean-Marc Vallée's directorial style is interesting because he'll incorporate these modern songs and cool montages. But in terms of character and performance, I kind of felt like this was a bit of a womp womp.
Oh, that's too bad. I
Personally.
mean, I don't know. Second time around, first time I was half watching it.
Yeah.
This time I was full watching it. I thought, wow, it's so interesting how much the actors, I wonder how much they know about their characters. I'm sure they knew everything because these are characters that are hiding a lot of secrets
Fair enough.
in the subtext behind what they say. So I'm sure if we watch it and then watch it again, you're like, ooh, well, she's thinking there.
I
Oh, crap.
see.
I hope they don't find out that I have a baby in the basement
Yeah.
that's dead.
Very grotesque, Sam.
This is a grotesque show. What can
It's
I
fair.
say?
You're right. And that would happen in the show. Yeah, I don't know. I think this show will be for a lot of people. I don't know if it's for me. So right now I'm a pass play. It sounds like you're a play.
I'm a play, half play for people like you, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'll be excited to see what you think because if you love it, I'll probably watch it.
Yeah.
Because I will say I did love Big Little Lies. And I'm going to talk about the development history of this show now because there are some tie-ins to Big Little Lies. Both shows are quote-unquote miniseries, though it sounds like Big Little Lies is officially renewed for a second season with Meryl Streep.
Can you even say that anymore? It's as if you're saying, you know, we're on a break.
I know, it does
Bree,
feel that
shout
way.
out to you in the booth if friends call out there.
Yes, our producer loves Friends. It does kind of seem like HBO's like, oh, this made money. People liked it. Round 2, baby. Like they'll just greenlight it, you know? So we'll have to see if people love Sharp Objects. I wouldn't be shocked if they greenlit it for a season 2. But similarly to Big Little Lies, this is a mystery murder based on a novel starring women and directed by Jean-Marc Vallée. So I think both have a lot in common. Like Big Little Lies, all 8 of this season are going to be directed by him. And I think there are some stylistic similarities between the two shows.
Is it Reese Witherspoon's company with this one as
It's
well?
actually not.
It's
I
not.
guessed it would have been.
Right.
But no, it doesn't sound like they have
Hello,
anything.
Sunshine.
Yeah, I don't think they have anything to do with it. Interestingly, it's actually Jason Blum who's executive producing this show. So if you guys know Blumhouse, they kind of do everything. They're all over the board. Like they'll do movies like The Boy Next Door with Jennifer Lopez, which I kind of actually love that movie.
Yeah, I watched that one day when I was hungover. It was
It's a
entertaining.
great hungover movie. But he'll do those kind of like $1 million low budget sleaze movies, but then he'll also do like Whiplash and Get Out, were both produced by Jason Blum. So
He's up for whatever.
He's up for whatever. I think he's usually doing micro budget stuff though. And this is not a micro budget project. So to me, this is kind of his first time delving into high budget territory.
Yeah, and you know, with the stars that are in the show, like they're pretty big. I mean, Amy
Yeah.
Adams has won an Oscar.
Yep.
And the other actress, God, I'm blanking on her name. I feel like she's been nominated for a bunch of stuff as well. I just don't.
Patricia Clarkson.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't see this being a flop.
Right. I think people will like it. I mean, like HBO, again, they don't really put out bad shows.
Well, and it's going to get the audience also of Gillian Flynn's audience.
Right.
Which are a lot of people.
Definitely. Showrunning and writing is Marty Noxon, who's a very, very famous badass female writer. It is a pretty impressive team behind this.
Yeah, that excited me so much. So I've done the Unreal After Show,
Yep.
which she co-created, you know, and show runs since season 1, and she is so crazy talented.
Yeah, she really is.
And fascinating.
It's interesting because her and Jean-Marc Vallée have pretty different styles, and they actually did clash a lot during production.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
I have some interesting feedback on that we'll get more specifically into later. But yeah, I mean, big names with Jason Blum, Gillian Flynn, Marty Noxon, and Jean-Marc Vallée all executive producing this show. Yeah, I can already smell the Emmys that this thing is going to get.
The fact that, you know, you said Jason Blum is producing this, I'm glad there's a woman that has her hand at the head of this.
Right.
Because while he has produced amazing things, it's not necessarily super female centered. So Marty Nixon knows what's up.
Definitely. Okay. In case you guys didn't know, Marty Noxon also worked on Buffy, Unreal,
Yes.
Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce. I think she has some stuff with.
Oh, yeah.
So
Great.
busy lady. Okay. So at this point, guys, we are going to get into some spoiler territory. You have been warned.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Let's
Spoiler
talk
alert.
about this cast. I will say, did you see the movie It?
Yes.
So the girl from It is in this movie, and during It, everyone is saying, "Gosh, she looks so much like Amy Adams." So she is playing young Amy Adams in this show.
Yeah, it was nuts.
They really do look so much alike.
There was a point I thought, is there some program we don't know about where they can take a full-grown actor's face and just like make them CGI into like a 10-year-old?
Brie, if there is, look for a side-by-side photo with Amy Adams and Eliza Scanlon. I don't know if there will be or not, but I want to see if there is. I think for a young actress, she's doing a really nice job. Because she, you could argue, is the second lead of this show based on the number of flashbacks they're employing.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Oh, yeah. We're looking for a side-by-side.
It definitely, the thing is, I didn't understand what was happening in the flashbacks, and that was distracting to me. I mean, I did and I didn't. I think it's one of those things when a book is made into something, they're expecting half of the people to have read it and somehow know and not explain it to the audience properly.
Oh, yeah. If you look at that photo, they are definitely lookalikes.
Looks a lot. She's a combination of her and Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
All the beautiful redheads.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up sort of the flashbacks being ambiguous, and I actually want to move on and talk about writing now because I think that's an important part of the show. Marty Noxon is known for her dialogue. She's known as this very, very well-regarded and well-respected TV showrunner, and she's, again, like acclaimed for the way she writes people. What's interesting is a show like this has very, very little dialogue, and that's because Jean-Marc Vallée, the director, is so obsessed with images and storytelling through visuals only and facial reactions and interesting shots. But it led to some conflict on set, so I think this is kind of interesting. Marty Noxon was asked about it, and she said, "Oh, our fights were always over language. It was over the nuance of language because Jean-Marc is from Montreal, and he doesn't share the love of the English language that I do, and Gillian does in the same way. He's much more interested in imagery and telling stories through pictures, and he is brilliant at that. He has a comfort level with visualizing things to music, and he gets very attached to certain pieces of music. I studied theater at Wesleyan before I became a writer, and the beauty of language, particularly in the Southern Gothic tradition, is so important to me. I kept talking to him about The Night of the Hunter, and he didn't want to listen to me."
Well, that's frustrating. I mean, I'm interested to see, because, you know, sometimes when you find out there's conflict on set of shows, it makes sense, and you go, it seemed off the whole time. I hope that's not what happens.
Do you feel like this pilot could have used more dialogue?
Yeah.
Me too.
I definitely did, but... And it's a shame. I mean, I could only imagine what was going on because it did need more dialogue, but it's also how much can you change what is from the books?
Right.
The one book.
I think that's what I'm missing about Big Little Lies. And again, it's hard not to compare them. So for those of you who haven't seen Big Little Lies, I'm sorry I keep bringing it up, but
They are different authors.
Different authors, but thematically similar. And just because of the way they're shot and edited for HBO specifically, they do feel like they're kind of tied thematically, at least. The thing I loved about Big Little Lies is there was snappy dialogue. Like, did you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it and I read the book.
So Reese Witherspoon's character on Big... Oh, you covered it for AfterBuzz, too.
I did, yeah.
So Reese Witherspoon's character, she was the chatty, funny one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you had Nicole Kidman, who was kind of more like Amy Adams' character, introverted, hiding things. But I feel like we got breaks from the serious broodiness because Reese Witherspoon would be talking about the PTA meeting.
At the end of the day, though, it was a different genre. It is the... You
Right,
okay over there?
Am I drunk? Like, I just tried to adjust my chair and almost fell over.
That
Keep
would've
going,
been
Sam.
awesome. No, but Big Little Lies is considered a dark comedy. It definitely is.
Yes.
And there's really nothing very funny about it except some awkward moments that are meant to be like, laugh for a second. But
It's a good point.
there's a bunch of young dead children. Young
Yeah.
girls, so.
Yeah, this isn't really... Big Little Lies is more of a dark comedy. You're right. I just think maybe this is just to my taste. I would have preferred the funnier version of this show.
What funnier version of this show is there, Jeff?
Well, I don't know. Like, she goes out and gets drunk in the pilot. And, like, maybe she has a funny interaction with a cabbie. Like, just a couple small scenes to give us some levity.
I think you have a problem with Amy Adams' performance a little bit, and I
Maybe.
kind of understand it. What I'm thinking is that she has such a dark past from this town and has so much damage inside of her that coming back there, she's kind of getting PTSD and it's
Right.
very internal. But I mean, it's definitely more entertaining. At the end of the day, if we would have seen her being funny with a cabbie and then banging him on the side of the road, circa, it's like what HBO does.
Right.
That also would have made me feel really weird after she just saw a child's dead body.
Yeah, it might not be appropriate. And maybe I want this show to be something it just isn't, which
Yeah.
isn't necessarily fair to the show.
There's a lot more shows coming out like Big Little Lies. Reese Witherspoon's got you covered.
For sure. And yeah, so my criticisms might be unfair. Like, they might just be a matter of taste. Because critics are loving this show.
I do agree that it was a little bit slow and it's hard to catch on as to what's going on. And us these days, we like to watch TV and maybe play a game of Candy Crush on our phone or do something at the same time. And you can't really do that with this show.
And I just think, too, there's something to be said about the efficiency and deliberateness of a pilot where every scene should kind of matter and connect to the next scene. And this might be a long game play, but with some of these flashbacks, I'm like, is this giving us tone or is this giving us narrative? Because I get a little frustrated when a show is just like, look at this crazy hallucination. And you're like, yeah, but like, what's the point?
Yeah, it's a very novel-y kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
when you see TV shows, movies that are from books, there you have those moments and you go, what is that? But really in the book, it was paragraphs and paragraphs of description and
Yeah.
the thing doing, in the wind, what have you. But just think about it like this. Have you seen Gone Girl?
Yeah.
What if that was a TV show? What do you think? Well, actually, at the beginning, it would have been very exciting. My point is moot.
Well, I know what you're saying, but yeah, Gone Girl was pretty funny, which makes me, and Gone Girl's a different book, but it makes me think that there might be at least a wittier version of this show. It doesn't need to be quippy and jokey, but just for such a smart writer and such a quippy dialogue writer, there was a couple lines, like the one line, is it a trash town or is it old money? She goes, it's both. And he says, what are you? And she says, I'm trash from old money.
Yeah.
Those are examples of moments where I'm like, oh, there's the dialogue I want through the whole episode, personally.
No, I completely agree. 100%.
But it might not be the show people. That might not be the show this is.
I'll let you know if they bring some of that in. I feel like they could.
Yeah, I could see it coming.
Yeah, I'll watch.
I will say, because the pilot was kind of slow, I don't have a ton more to say.
All right.
I don't know if you have anything else.
What do I have? Well, of course, I have a lot to say. I also have a lot to say about AfterBuzz, though.
Yes.
Here at our network, we produce after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there is no network that works harder to serve television fans. But we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that is tailor-made to help you continue to find the stuff you like and help AfterBuzz grow.
Hell yeah.
And if you're worried about those pesky notifications, don't be, because they are optional. So hit that subscribe button now for this channel, the OG AfterBuzz TV channel, and check out other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. We have dramas, comedy, sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes, animation, reality
manga.
TV, everything you guys could possibly want. So let us know you did so in the comments, and we will thank you live on the air.
We will.
And for now, thank you guys so much for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
Sam, I'm so glad you mentioned notifications because, guys, I'm going to be honest. I was not subscribed to our channels because I was like, I get enough email, I get enough pop-ups, I don't need more of that. They're optional. What that means is you're just helping yourself, because now I'm subscribed to some of our AfterBuzz channels, and I get recommended all these videos that I love.
Yeah, it's like basically when you take the test to get into Netflix, you know?
Yes.
Just check your interests. It's basically that. We're just giving you content.
YouTube is wicked smart.
It is.
Wicked smart.
Probably smarter than us.
Probably smarter than us. Okay, so I say we go ahead and talk about other shows we think this might be like. So if you're interested in Sharp Objects, but you're still on the fence, here's some similar shows. I would say Big Little Lies. It's hard not to.
Well, you know, we don't know yet. It's an HBO original series. I mean, I'm thinking True Detective.
Yes, True Detective.
I do want to ask you though, what did you think of the very gruesome, which is very reminiscent of True Detective, the gruesome scene of the girl just dead out? It was just. Did it bother you or no?
I don't know. For some reason, I just felt like I was like, okay. Which I don't know what that says about me, but I think because the show was so monotoned,
Yeah.
it just felt like another scene where like, oh, like here's Amy Adams drinking. Oh, here's her having a flashback. Here's her. I don't know. That sounds so dark that I didn't respond more viscerally, but I almost feel like I could just see the stage makeup and the production design during that scene. It didn't jar me.
Well, it was almost as though she was supposed to be made to look like a doll.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
It just didn't. Normally, I'm so creeped out by that stuff, but something about this pilot felt a little sterile, and so it didn't bother me.
Well, that's probably what they wanted. Think about it.
Yeah.
It didn't. Oh, you know, there's a lot of bodies in this show.
Yeah.
You guys. In the after show is going to talk all about it. But I mean, you said something about a little girl and her mother. You know, the entire time, her and her mother are fighting because she wants her girls to be like little dolls, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot of like feminine themes and gender roles in the South.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out who's doing it.
I know. I think you're going to keep watching. You can let us know what you think.
Yeah,
but
now I'm excited about it.
in terms of our show recommendations, I think True Detective, Big Little Lies are great recommendations.
Yes, absolutely.
Out of 5, Sam.
I mean, I'm going to give the pilot 3.7.
Guess what I was going to give the pilot?
3.
A 3.7.
No, you weren't.
I really was.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't like it. I liked it.
It's not, again, just because I didn't like it doesn't mean I don't think it's good. You know, there's a difference.
Fair enough.
Do you think this is the kind of show where they might greenlight a second season if it does well?
I don't think this show will do as well as Big Little Lies because of the reasons you kind of described earlier. So I don't think so, just because I think it's going to bum people out. The thing about Big Little Lies is that you wanted to see those other characters develop because they were so interesting and fun.
Right.
But this is more about a mystery.
For sure. The show's deliberately mysterious. Okay. Well, normally at this point I ask you guys if you think we should run an after show. But we already have one. So you guys should check out our AfterBuzz TV Dramas channel. That after show premieres on Sundays, yes, Bree? She will know exactly because she schedules her
Yes,
studio.
they tape Sundays at 8 p.m.
Sundays at 8 p.m. So if you're liking the show, definitely tune in. If you guys think my criticisms were wiggity whack, I won't ever say that again. Don't worry.
Don't talk back.
Don't talk back. Let me know in the comments how and why you disagree with me, because I'm going to be honest, I love disagreement. So let me know if you love this pilot, why I'm wrong, and I love that. Let me know.
I'm going to be honest. If you guys disagree with me, I don't love disagreement. So just tell Jeff what he
Just
did
tell
wrong.
Sam. Sam doesn't have thick enough skin.
You guys are trying. Okay.
All right, guys, this has been TV Pilot Reviews. Today we covered Sharp Objects, the new HBO show that aired Sunday. Again, you can check out our after show for that on our Dramas channel. My name is Jeff, guys. If you like what you saw, I host a TV Pilot table read show on Fridays at 10 a.m. So we table read unproduced pilots that have won awards and interview the writers. It's pretty cool. And I think for those of you guys who are fans of sort of that scholarly prestige approach to television criticism, you'll definitely like that show. That's in the Popcorn Talk. It's called the Unproduced Table Read.
And you guys can find me, Sam Davidson, at SamD43, Twitter and Instagram, and SamDavidsonEntertainment.com. I'm going to be doing the Younger After Show, which is a fun, light show at 10 p.m. here tonight. So tune in if you like that.
Awesome, Sam. This was fun.
It was very fun. We miss you, D'Angelo and Linda.
We do.
Very much. See you next week, guys.
See you guys next week.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.